So, hello everyone. I'm very happy to see you here on my panel today at Comic Salon. First of all, I will need to be a bit faster today with all the presentation, so there won't be really a time for questions. So if you have any questions, please note them down, and you can come by my booth around 3 p.m. because after this panel I need to go judge the cosplay competition, so I need to be quick with this panel. But don't worry, if you have any questions, I will gladly answer everything that's bothering you. Just come to my booth downstairs and I will be very happy to answer it. So, starting right now, I am Purin, as you might know or might not. I do cosplay and photography as a living. And today I would like to tell you a little bit about working as a cosplayer and doing your own photos. From the very, very beginner side, going a little bit into the professional side. So, a little bit about me. As I already mentioned, I am a full-time and self-taught cosplayer and photographer. I've been cosplaying way longer than doing photography. But I think when I started photography, it's become really huge passion for me. And I like exploring all kinds of photography. And beside that, cosplay-wise, I also like to experiment with wigs, props, and modeling, because it's also part of cosplay. And I am from Poland. What actually is cosplay photography? So we need to talk about this topic a little bit, because cosplay photography is a bit different than normal photography. Because usually in cosplay, we focus on the characters, so we want to portrait them in some kind of way, we want to tell a story or maybe have a specific mood for the character. So always when making cosplay pictures, we need to remember that there is a character and their story and their mood, and every time we want to make a photo shoot, it's good to include some of these things in the photos we are taking. So at least, I don't know, maybe colors similar to the character or maybe expressions. So with usual photography, you can just stand and pose and it's okay. But with cosplay photography, it's important to remember to portrait this certain character and their features or maybe story, as I already mentioned. So it is a bit different the normal photography. What actually matters when shooting your own photos? These are the very base things, I would say. So if you want to start your own journey as a photographer, or even just casually doing your photos with your phone, which is also fine, these are the very basic things you will need to remember when taking your own pictures. So first of all, we have framing. So framing means that, for example, you make the character the center of your picture, or you portrait it in a cinematic way. In my opinion, framing is the most important thing in photography, because if you do not frame the character well, it won't be very pleasing to look, or it might be kind of off, if you see this picture right here, and for example, if the character would be just in this corner, the photo would look weird. So it's important to remember about framing. If you do not have the eye for frames, it's always good to search for references or look at inspiration. In my personal case, I used to follow a lot of photographers from abroad, and I was checking their pictures, and I was thinking okay, their model is looking this kind of way, or it's in this side of picture. So it is always important to know how to frame the character, and if you do not know, beside the references or inspiration, the easiest way, what do you think would be the easiest way to, I don't know, maybe portrait the character? Anyone has maybe any ideas? The easiest way how to make a frame, like how a character should look on the frame. And
using the thirds?
Yes, exactly. We will talk a bit about this later, but also just in the center, like when you have picture and for example you see the picture like this, because here it's a bit not in the center, but the easiest way to put the framing of yourself is just put yourself in the middle, and that's the most basic thing you should keep in mind. Also lighting and colors, because this is very important when portraying certain characters. Light, in my opinion, is very important because it can make like a soft mood or very dramatic mood, or I don't know, dreamy. So when picking a character, you should always keep in mind what vibe you would like to show with this character. So for example, if you have a character that's cheerful, that's very happy, bright colors with a soft light would be very nice. If you have some like more dramatic characters or cyberpunk one, you have to keep in mind that the lighting will play a very great role in this picture. So for example, for a cyberpunk character, you know, like a lot of colors, a lot of lights would really match the character. But if you don't have the specific equipment, it's also fine. We'll talk about everything later, so do not need to worry. It's just something to keep in mind when picking your character and preparing for the photo shoot. Also, another important thing is backgrounds, because you know, like we have many options for taking pictures. Like maybe do you have a favorite spot when you would like to take pictures, or photo studios that you would like to shoot in. We have many options to actually do our pictures. So in my opinion, it's just important to try. Of course, if you're starting, you can just make pictures in your phone, in your house, but we will get to that later. But this is something to keep in mind. So for example, for medieval characters, we would like to go, so for example, some castles. If we have like crazy characters or like futuristic, then going for some like abandoned places. So always keep that connection of the character and of the overall photo mood to connect these pieces, because you know, like a medieval character would look kinda off in a cyberpunk background. I mean, you can do this, but something would be not very much matching. Another important thing is post-processing, which is another topic, and I would need to like make, you know, another panel about this. But here are some like tutorials. For example, Piximperfect, that you can check out on YouTube. He does very cool tutorials on how to use Photoshop for retouching, for color adjusting. So if you ever wonder how to retouch your pictures in Photoshop, these are cool things to look at and learn yourself. And for me, the last thing is gear, because first you need to know all this stuff and then get into the gear. It's the things you work with. So you can work with photo camera, you can work with your phone, you can work with different lenses, different lights, etc. It's just something you will learn through the process of what you actually need or what you can use, for example, for a rent. Because I don't want to like lie to you, the more equipment you would like, the more expensive it gets, because with experience you would like to get more and more. So it is important to remember to take small steps, check out what you like and what you don't like, and then invest in the equipment. So, as we already mentioned, here are some basics of a good picture and some examples. So, as we already mentioned, on the first example, we have the rule of thirds. So, it is regarding the compositions. As you can see, we have lines dividing the picture in basically, like, I don't know if you can actually see it very good, because maybe it might be too dark, so I will just stand up for this. But we have a lines going like here, 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 and here. And basically, there was some like research done on human eye, And when the lines meet, these are usually the points of the picture when human eye focuses the most. So what does it mean in photography? In these lines or in these specific points should be the most important things on your picture. So for example, here you can see line is going directly on the eye level. So when you look at the picture, you instantly and subconsciously focus on the eye level. So it is more appealing when you look at it. And actually you can use it in very different ways, because you can like move the lines a little bit to the middle, onto the sides, just something you keep in mind. And it's not really important to remember during making your pictures, but more when editing, because you can always like reframe your pictures, but it's good to have this like in the back of your mind. Another thing that is very important is the separation between the model and the background. So when you have like a really beautiful place, or like a castle, or as you can see here, like an abandoned building, you do not put yourself like next to a wall, so the place isn't really visible. Like, you should have in mind that you would like to show yourself, but also the background. So as you can see in these pictures, I was standing on some kind of rock, so I was a bit higher, and in this way we could show the whole background of this picture. You can keep this in mind more in the outdoors, but also in photo studios if there's like a lot of decorations, so you do not stand close to like one decoration, but just move a little so it's all like coming around you and not too close, so you do not like, you're not being hidden in it. And another important thing is a good contrast, which is pretty easy. So as you can see here, there's like a very dark costume and white background. So instantly when you look at the picture, you just see white background and the dark character stands out. So you just look at the picture and it's like, oh, I see the contrast. So it's something to also keep in mind. And these were like the important things from photographer's side. But since we are like thinking about the pictures, we are also the cosplayer. So when we prepare for the photo shoot, we also need to remember about stuff from the cosplayer's side. So for example, when we prepare for a photo shoot, we need to remember about all this stuff as well. So it's just basic stuff for, you know, every photo shoot. So costume needs to be like clean. You need to check if the costume fits you well, if it has like all the parts, if it's like ironed, because for me the most important thing and the thing that makes huge difference is ironing your costumes. Like, you can fix it in Photoshop, but ironing your costume like for 15-20 minutes before the photo shoot, but then editing 20 pictures and doing the same thing on every picture, you know what is easier, just ironing your costumes, right? So it is something to keep in mind. If I were to recommend something, the steamers are really good, because some costumes are like weirdly shaped or have like the leather that can't be really ironed with a normal iron. So for this I recommend the steamer, it is really good. Another thing that is very important is the makeup. When I was starting cosplay, usually I was doing a lot of makeup tests. If I wasn't feeling sure with a certain makeup, I used to make a test makeup and then check pictures, because this is very important. How you look in the mirror is not the same how you look in the camera, because usually in the mirror you're like, oh, this makeup looks so cool, it's very pretty, but then you check the camera and it's gone. So the important thing is to make the makeup a little bit more exaggerated for photo shoot. Make more highlights, make more shading, make the eyes a little bit bigger, because in camera everything seems a little bit more flat and a little bit smaller. So it's important to like check it with your phone, for example, and different kind of lights. Also, wig, very basic. Please at least brush your wig. This is the bare minimum. Please take it out of the bag and just brush it. Of course, it would be perfect, it would be styled, but not everyone is capable of that. I know everyone learns everything. So the very base minimum is at least brush it and take the brush with you, because you know, if you're doing a photo shoot with like extreme posing, the hair is like everywhere. So it's important to remember about your brush. If you also feel like you can style your wig, it would be best to style it, because there are photo shoots that would need some more editing if you would like the wig to look better. But you know, it's all about skill, about your time, so it's something to just keep in your mind. And the last thing is posing. I would say for this, it depends how you feel with camera. So if you don't feel very well prepared or you don't know how to pose, first thing I would recommend is posing in front of a mirror without anything. Just maybe look at the character, how the character behaves, if you have any inspiration, any reference pictures, and then just check in front of the mirror if you can recreate the poses of the character. So, for example, I don't know, if I am cosplaying like Powder, I would try recreating her faces, like from the Arcane. I would make some like screenshots, and I would see if this face looks good on me, because you know, characters are drawn, we are human, so not everything looks good on us when it looks good on character. So it's good to check it this way. Also, like a very good tip to remember when posing is making angles. I don't know, if you want to stand straight, I will demonstrate, sorry camera. If you want to stand straight, like standing like that is very, like, you know, you will look like a tree at the camera. So you always need to remember about angles. So for example, at least make your like legs a little bit wider. So there is one angle going here, maybe put one hand over here, then we have another angle, and let's say the hand going over here. So we have like something going on with our body. And you can test different angles, different things, but the best thing I would say is just look for inspiration on Pinterest, like of other cosplayers. It's up to you and only up to your imagination, I would say. So, now let's get to the actual thing. How do we even start taking our own pictures? So, this is me. This is how I started. So, you know, for me, when I look at this right now, it looks very bad. Like, it's just a picture, selfie in your home. But it's good to start, because you have to start somewhere to get the knowledge of the base things. So I was just using basically my phone. I didn't even have like a tripod. I literally put my phone like this and had this little pilot over here, like the thing with button. So I didn't have to click the camera on my phone. And as you can see, I was just checking out the references of the characters and I was trying to recreate them. For this, I would just say, get a light from sun. So not direct sun, but a well-lit room. And ideally, if you had white wall or just plain wall in your home, that would be totally enough. If you can make pictures in such conditions, it's a good place to start. Nowadays, the cameras are even better than the ones I had here. So you can even like recreate much better pictures. But if you don't have any ideas about photography, I would say this is the best way to start. Just try daylight and your phone. Next step, at least for me, was trying to build a small studio, but it wasn't like a really studio. I just needed the white backdrop because I was in my college days, so I didn't really have enough place. So my whole room was of everything and I didn't have like a plain wall. And as I mentioned before, like separating the character from your background already does like a huge difference. So I started with a basic ring light. Here I didn't change the price, but it's also like 20 euros. You can even get it cheaper. Basic ring light, which also can hold your camera. In this case, you can also make pictures when it's dark, because you know, in the previous step you could only make pictures like in one time of day. So it could be difficult. And this is like the easiest way to make a little bit better pictures. Then you can also try backdrops, but it is already a bit pricey because not everyone needs the backdrop, and we also have like a lot of photo studios now that can be cheaper than buying a backdrop. But if you want to get something like this, we have like a different kind of backdrops, and the best one, at least in my opinion, is the paper one, because the light is reflected in a very, very natural way. And also you can get like extras for the backdrop. You can like create, I don't know, a mood, a decorations for the characters. I don't know, there's a birthday character, so you can put balloons or some other decorations, or Christmas, so you can put like Christmas decorations on the backdrop. It's only up to you and your imagination. But this was like the beginning for me, and still, as you can see the picture here, it is just me and my camera and my ring light. I'm still like not really proud of this when I look at it now, but this was my starting point. So if you don't feel like your pictures are looking good now, don't worry. We all have to start somewhere. What we can still do with our camera, I mean phone camera, because we're still not buying the expensive stuff, you know, is adding some additional mood. So as I mentioned in the beginning, depending on the character, you can have different mood, different colors and different lighting. And here I invested in a ring light and a LED stick. You can take pictures, you can take notes. Yongnu, I think, are the best priced, at least, because there are like, when I bought them, they were like 50 euros, and they have like white light and RGB light. So for this price, it is really, really okay. And with this, I was already able to create something different. So, you know, it wasn't just a character and the wall. It was like a character, but with some magic from the behind. So we have this character here with white elements and purple accessories. So I was like, just white wall would be too plain, like the character would not stand out. So I added a little bit of light from behind, and in front of me I had the ring light, and I was just making the picture with the pilot I showed you before. This is very good for phone, but also if you have like a professional camera, many photographers also use these lights, which is also all very good. They are like connected to your phone. You can like change the colors, change the power, like lots of different stuff. Next we go to a bit more pricey stuff. So first question, do any of you have any knowledge of cameras, of any equipment camera? No? Okay, a little. Okay, that's fine. So I will explain like the very, very basics if you would like to get a camera yourself. Because, you know, taking pictures with your phone is fine, but taking pictures with a camera has more quality, has more depth. So either way, when you have the budget, it is good to upgrade it. If not, phone pictures are also totally fine, but with camera you have more options. So first thing to consider is your budget, because, you know, cameras can be like 500 euros or 5,000 euros or 50,000 euros, because it really is that huge of a difference. For the beginning, I would say go for the lowest price you can find, the best if there is like a camera who, I don't know, someone already used and is selling it because he doesn't need it anymore. That's the best thing to consider. Another thing is the brand. This is totally optional, because I started as a Sony girl only because like I was watching, I don't know, some tutorials on YouTube, I think, and then there was like some recommendation for the Sony one, and then I just stayed with it. But it's totally up to you which company you would like to choose. Another very important reason, and here for all the people that have no idea about the cameras or just a little, is the sensor size. So as you can see in this picture, we have two, is it a rectangle? Let's say. So, we have two kinds of cameras, full frame and the crop frame. Main difference, beside what you see here, is the price. Because the crop camera are way cheaper. I got my first camera and it was a crop camera and it was very good price for that day. And what does a crop camera mean is that standing in the same spot you see the smaller rectangle. So it has a narrow field of view. And a full frame, which is also more expensive, standing in the same spot, you see the full frame coming over here. So if you would like to make the same picture with these two cameras, with the full frame, you would stay here, and with a crop frame, you would need to stand over there. So this is important if you want to make home pictures. Because if you have a small place and you would take a crop camera, you wouldn't be able to make a picture of your whole body because you wouldn't have enough space. Maybe you can get like a wide lens, but we'll get to that later. But it will look very different. And speaking about lenses basically are also the field of view, the depth of view, and the angle of the picture. So, as you can see, different lenses have different fields of view. So, wide lens would make your legs really long, like fisheye. You know fisheye, right? So this is like a wide lens. A narrow lens would very make a narrow picture, but you would look straight, and the background would be very blurred. Basically, for cosplay, I'd say 35mm or 50mm are the best camera lenses, and you can just have one, and that would be totally perfect and enough for you. Another important thing when you want to take your own pictures is remote shooter, because you have to click the camera somehow, and you can't do it if you are posing. So as for my first equipment, my camera actually had, you can see, this is like my totally first equipment. You can check it out, it is like budget friendly and is okay. But the camera I had just had an app. And on the app I just saw the exact thing my camera was seeing, and I could just press take picture and the camera was making picture in like 3 seconds or something like that. So I had the Sony Alpha, which was cropped. Then I had the 35mm lens, and then a tripod. As you can see here is a tripod, so the camera can stand. I mean, if you are budget friendly, you can skip the tripod and just put the camera on a table. But if you have money to buy the camera, I think you should also have money to buy a tripod, because it is very useful, I would say. And here you can see, this is the first picture actually I made with the camera in my cosplay. Basically, I used the ring light in front of me, the blue light behind me, had the camera in front of me, and my phone like somewhere here, just press the button and put it away in the 3 seconds when I was taking the picture. The whole thing was like, as you can see, similar, 500 to 700 euros, something like this for the whole thing. So, for a starter, I would say it is a good price. What do you think is another step to go into photography? Because like we have a lot of things, equipment, but for this picture, what would you like to go, or where do you would like to go next? Do you know? Like,
I would say lighting or flashes.
Yes, exactly. So here we go to the never-ending hole, lights. Because there are so many different kinds of lights in photography that you can, you can pick freely and constantly buy new lights, and you would never be fully satisfied, So here are like the very basic lights. I would just say about this quickly because we need to be fast. If you would like to you can take pictures. Here are some of the most budget-friendly companies I personally use when buying flashlights. it's also important to remember to buy like a special controller for the camera, because the flash, has to know when to put on the light, and some light modificators. For this is also another huge topic. I would recommend checking YouTube videos on how different like soft boxes or umbrellas behave with different lights. So you need to check this yourself to see how the light behaves with yourself. And of course, as I mentioned before, tripods. So, how I worked with this gear. Here you can see a picture I used with the gear I mentioned before. Do you know how many lights I used in this picture? Has anyone an idea? Maybe you can check and let me know. Let you guess.
At least 4.
At least 4. Oh, I didn't have that many yet at that time. Actually, here, as you can see, I only used 2 lights, because at that time I didn't even have flash. I only had stable lights. So as you can see from this side, there is a soft box with light bulb. So it was constantly lit, and I saw how the picture looked in real time. And from behind I had the RGB tube, but just in white color. In front of me also, as you can see here in this red one, here on a tripod is my phone. So I didn't have to like put it away, I just could click on a tripod. And here is my camera, but it's a little tilted. So I'm not standing like you see straight here, but a little tilted. And as mentioned before, this is actually a wall in my hometown, in my home where my parents live. They were in work, so I just, put a table away, put some chairs away, put just the balloons on the wall, and okay, making a quick photo shoot. Actually, in that time, I had, 2 or 3 pictures from this photo shoot, but for me, it was already enough because I was still learning. And in cosplay, it is amazing because you can experiment with a lot of stuff, a lot of decorations. You can buy stuff on AliExpress for few euros and make amazing photos of it already. So it's always important to experiment with this stuff. Here's also another example. As you can see, I used a ring light this time. So you see, this light is more on whole of my body, because you see here the light makes a little bit of shadow because of the soft box being this shape, and here the light is more soft and more on whole of my body because it is a ring light and the light goes like this. Oh, I'm leaving her. So same here, one ring light, here also soft box but far away, so the light isn't so strong. One tube from behind, so like here, so the background is also visible. One tripod with phone and one tripod with camera over here. And here will be like another examples, but this time with flashes. Because what is also important to remember the difference between flashes and stable light. With flashes, you don't see how the picture looks like in real time. You have to click the camera and then you see how the light behaves. So it is a bit more tricky, but with time you get the overall experience and look how the pictures actually really look. And also flashes are a bit more powerful than the stable light, so that's why I use them more. Here is another example. As you can see here, I have pink backdrop, paper one, as I mentioned before, and here I was actually using flashlights. So another question this time. Can anyone guess how many lights were here in this picture? I know it's not visible very well, but maybe someone can guess. It was made in my parents' living room.
I would just say 1.
1, okay. 3. Okay. But actually 2 this time. But the second one was aimed at the room, so the light was like being, I don't remember the word, diffused, exactly, from the whole room and making a very, very subtle difference. So I wasn't having like very strong shadows over here, but a little bit of light. And as you can see, I had the main light going over here, and it was with an Octa softbox because it light up my face really well. As for light positions, it's also something to learn through the process and through a lot of tutorials, because there's so many different ways to put your lights and so many different moods you can get with it. So I would just suggest looking for YouTube tutorials or maybe checking Pinterest, because there are like, I don't know, so reference pictures, how different position of light looks on your face. But here also, on the right, or to you, your left, there is my phone, so I could just click the camera and camera in front of me. And here is another picture with another example of adding some decorations. Here's like just a Christmas photo shoot. For me, it was always the best time of the year, because you have so many decorations for Christmas, right? So you can just buy, I don't know, paper box or like gift paper and take some cardboard boxes from the trash and just make gifts from them, then take some like, I don't know, other decorations, and here, poof, you have a picture. That's not just white background, but you see Christmas. And how I worked with this? Actually, here you can see the camera is also a little bit tilted, so the picture isn't really straight, and it was also like this and this. So the picture was a little bit from above. From behind I also had the RGB light, and from above I had softbox number 2, which was, I think, stronger and closer than the softbox I had over here. And actually, you know, it's always about testing a lot of stuff and thinking what you like work with or what you want to get out of your pictures, because photography is just like showing your creativity, and you can have endless possibilities, and it's all learning through the process of what you like and what you like to do. So after this, basically you can just upgrade your equipment more and more. So as I already said, it's a never-ending story. For me, I constantly want to have like new lights or a smoke machine or better camera. There's seriously ton of stuff you can get in photography. But with this, you have to be a little bit more experienced, and you will experience everything through a process. It's all up to you and your imagination. You need to see what works best for you, and most important, if you have fun with what you do. Because if you don't have the fun, what's the point of like forcing yourself to do something? And very quickly, for the end of our panel, studio versus outdoors photo shoot. Like in studio, you see we have like more work with artificial lights, and outdoor photo shoots we have like more work with natural lights, and we have to keep that in mind every time we do photos. But in these cases, all these pictures were made not by myself, I mean the pilot, but by other people. So why do I say it's self-photography? Well, because I set up the camera, I set up the lights, I set up the studio, and I do pictures of someone standing in the place, and I'm like, click the button here in this place. So it's self-photography, but sometimes it's very useful to have other people who will at least know how to click the button, because you can have the knowledge of everything, but sometimes it's hard to make like different angles or different pictures or a lot of pictures, and it is a lot more time consuming. So having others in your life, I don't know, friends, family, your partners, it's very good to tell them or also taught them how to do this. In all of these cases, like the first picture was made by my fiance in home. I built the studio, I set up the lights, I put him in this spot. I was like, something is not looking good. I adjusted it and it was, okay, now you can take a picture of me. The second one was taken by my mom, and mind you, my mom doesn't know how to use her phone. So if she could do it, you can also do it. Just show how it looks, tell them, okay, this is how you focus, click this button, and it works. Of course, there was a lot of pictures that had her fingers on it, they were moved, but in the end, I had, I don't know, at least 15 good quality pictures from this photo shoot, which is a lot when you're thinking it was my mom. So you can always like try working with other people. The third one was made by my friend, and the last one was also made by my friend. And in these cases, we were like, okay, let's rent a photo studio. I will make some photos of you, and then I will tell you how to make photos of me. And that's basically how it worked, because we were all happy because they had nice pictures, and also I had nice pictures. So even though you can work alone, it is more difficult, and it's, for me, it's more fun to do it with others. And some final thoughts. You have to keep in mind that you have to think as a both cosplayer and photographer, so you have to remember the good frames, the good lighting, but also how to pose, if your costume looks good, if your wig looks good, etc. Everything that I mentioned before. You also have to remember that using the tools, you have to know how to use them and not just have them, because you know you can have a 50,000 euros camera, but if you cannot use them, what's the point? You know? And I would say just bringing your own ideas to life, because cosplay is showing like your passion, your love for the characters, or I don't know if it's your job, it is also your job. So it's something, in my opinion, to keep in mind that you should have fun with what you do. Don't force yourself. If you don't feel like, it's okay. You can just leave it and try again maybe later, or don't. Not everyone has to do it, or everyone has to like it. But for me, having the fun of what you do is the best feeling when you do cosplay. And photography, of course. And you know, if you fail, if it's not looking good for you at the beginning, don't worry. We all have to start somewhere. The process is growing, and keep remember that you need to grow and take experience to know what you're doing. Yeah, and of course, people around you also are very helpful. So, thank you so much. That would be everything for my panel. Unfortunately, I will not answer any questions right now, as already mentioned, but you can come to my booth. I will gladly answer everything. I am very, very thankful that so many of you came to my panel. I am very happy to see you, and hopefully it was helpful to you as well. Thank you so much.